Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Monday again, Monday, March the 16th. We are here to look at the new releases that are published this week, and on Mondays we look at the cozy mysteries. Mary says, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Back at ya. Rainy and expecting possible, 100+ mile winds. We had that last week. It sucks. And tornadoes today. Ooh. Be safe. Could be an interesting start to the week. Hope you aren't snowed in, warm and safe. Well, we got over a foot of snow over the weekend, but today's supposed to be in the 40s. Tomorrow's in the 60s, and the rest of the week, 60s and 70s, so it's going to go away fast. And then there's probably going to be flooding. Amy said, good morning. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. So yes, stay safe, please. All right. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Monday night. Our next sprints are tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Itch. Let's look at cozy mysteries. New one from Benjamin Stevenson, fourth in his Ernest Cunningham series. Everyone in this bank is a thief. Who knew that would become a series? 10 heists, 10 suspects, a murder mystery only Ernest Cunningham can solve. I've spent the last few years solving murders, but a bank heist is a new one, even for me. I've never been a hostage before. The doors are chained shut, no one in or out, which means that when someone in the bank is murdered, everyone is a suspect. The bank robber, the manager, the security guard, the kid, the film producer, the priest, the receptionist, the patient, the caregiver, me. Turns out more than one person planned to rob the bank today. You can steal more from a bank than just money. Who is stealing what? Are they willing to kill for it? And can I solve the crime before the police kick down the door and rescue us? Amy says to Mary, hope you stay safe. Absolutely. Mary says, hi, Amy, hope you are warm and safe too. Did you guys have a good weekend? We just hunkered down. Bestsellers Can Be Murder by Connie Shelton, 24th in the Charlie Parker Mysteries. Charlie receives a spur-of-the-moment invitation, a bucket list adventure with her beloved Aunt Louisa on a dream vacation to Australia. Among the must-do activities in Sydney is attending a book signing by Lily Davenport, a best-selling British author and old friend of Louisa's. But when Charlie, Louisa, and Lily meet for an elegant afternoon high tea, Charlie quickly senses something is wrong. Despite her polished public persona, Lily is rattled and afraid. In every city on her international book tour, she has received handwritten notes that appear courteous at first glance, but carry an unmistakable chill beneath the surface. Each note is delivered in person by hotel staff, signed only with a single letter, A. And with every new stop, the messages grow darker. The police have provided no help since a crime has not been committed yet. With one final tour stop after Sydney and her fear mounting, Lily turns to the one person who seems both sharp-eyed and compassionate enough to help, Charlie. Reluctantly stepping into the role of investigator, Charlie must unravel a puzzle with a faceless threat and a trail that spans luxury hotels and international cities. As the clock ticks down on the stalker's timeline and the tension rises, Charlie faces to uncover the identity behind the ominous signature, fearing the psychological threat will soon turn physical. Can she unravel the pitifully few clues and catch the perp before the escalating danger spoils their dream vacation? Well, this is one to add to your list if you're doing a round the world kind of challenge. Oops. Amy says, pretty much staying warm. It is 27 Fahrenheit this morning in Oklahoma. Yeah. Mary says, my daughter and her husband are coming on Wednesday. Oh, nice, for a couple of days, so I spent my time cleaning. Yeah. I've just about wound up cleaning my pantry. Boy, the stuff I threw away. Some as old as 2014. I need to do that too. Amy says, sounds like you did a deep cleaning, Mary. I have to do that for sure. The Conspiracy on the Cruise by L.L. Gray, 8th in the Havenwood Paranormal Cozy Mysteries. Harper Sullivan thought she'd signed up for 2 blissful weeks of spa days, mist-shrouded castles, and supernatural sightseeing on the world's most luxurious magical cruise. Instead, as the ship glides through the rugged coasts of Scotland and Ireland, mythical creatures start vanishing without a trace. Every clue Harper uncovers pulls her deeper into a conspiracy that's far bigger than the ship itself. Between moonlit deck parties, whispered legends, and one very opinionated rabbit, Harper's romantic getaway with Gabriel turns into a race to unmask the culprit before the last port of call. Can she solve the mystery before the anchor drops, or will the cruise of a lifetime become her last voyage? Cafe Amaretto, this is 10th in the Zion Sawyer Cozy Mysteries by M.L. Hamilton, 10th. Zion Sawyer is about to marry the man of her dreams. Her focus has narrowed to planning her wedding and running her coffee shop, but when Condor asks her to meet with him, she isn't prepared for what the Rusty Buckets leader wants. Fellow motorcycle gang member Hatchet Henry reveals that he was part of a 1970s bank robbery which resulted in the death of a security guard. His accomplice, Whistling Willie, has always sworn he didn't kill the guard, but he's serving a life sentence at Corcoran for the crime. Now Willie is dying and he wants one last taste of freedom. Condor asks Zion to help prove Willie innocent. Does the red-headed sleuth have one more criminal investigation in her, or will she decide to honor Tate's wishes and never take on another case again? End of that row. Amy says, I hope you have a great visit with your daughter and son-in-law. Yeah, absolutely. Mary says to Amy, I lived in Lawton back in the day. I don't know that one. Fort Sill 3 separate times, actually, since my husband was a pilot, but in artillery. You all have wild weather in Oklahoma in the spring. Yeah, everybody stay safe. Where the Bones Lie by Diane Harmon, 2nd in the Ivy Harlow Cozy Mystery Series. Ivy Harlow came to Cedar Bluff seeking peace after the tragic loss of her son Adam, but when her true crime podcast helps solve a missing persons case, she becomes reluctantly known as the woman who finds answers when the professionals give up. Now human remains discovered at a local construction site are about to pull her into the darkest corners of this quiet Oklahoma town. The body is identified as Sarah Mitchell, an elementary school teacher who disappeared 8 years ago. While everyone believes Sarah had simply left town for a fresh start, Ivy's investigation reveals a different story. Sarah was a dedicated teacher who stayed late to help struggling students and took her mandatory reporting duties seriously. In the weeks before her death, she'd been asking questions about a troubled student named Emma Walsh, questions that may have gotten her killed. As Ivy digs deeper, she finds herself at odds with Officer Miguel Garcia, who sees her as an opportunistic podcaster exploiting tragedy for downloads. But when Miguel realizes he's misjudged her completely, his professional concern becomes something more personal. Together, they begin to uncover connections between Sarah's murder, the Walsh family's sudden departure from town, and secrets that powerful people would rather keep buried. Blah, blah, blah. Goes on. Practically longer than the book. Not So Perfect Proposal by Lily Sterling, 7th in the Holt Jacobs series. Missing ring, stolen passport, dead body. Getting engaged can be murder. A dead man was found with my passport. But how did he get it? To make matters worse, my engagement ring is missing. I'd planned an elaborate proposal in Australia. Now I'm tracking down clues in the hopes the murderer has my ring. Catching killers is nothing new, but getting engaged is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Can I solve this, or should I pop the question without the ring? It says, Holt Jacobs isn't for everyone. He's a sarcastic introvert who can never quite get enough coffee. Becoming a sarcastic sleuth was unexpected, but as an engineer, Holt is used to solving puzzles. Amy said, yes, we do, Mary. I hope you enjoyed your time here in Oklahoma and the weather didn't make you have bad memories. The Case of the Petrified Potter by Kathy Ace. The women of the Wise Inquiries Agency are asked to look into a tragic death that happened back in 1984. Four girls visited a small Welsh mining village awash with outsiders due to the memorial service being held in honor of its most famous son, but only three came back. With Carol leading the investigation, ably supported by Annie, they admit they're a bit stumped until the possibility of a promising lead arises from an unexpected quarter, but discovering if a murder was committed decades ago, and if so by whom, might be the least of their worries on this occasion. Meanwhile, Christine is finding herself challenged by her role as a new mother, yet still manages to get stuck into unraveling an even more historic puzzle dating back to Elizabethan times, and Mavis is somewhat incapacitated, meaning she falls prey to Dowager Duchess Althea's machinations involving a member of her staff, etc., etc. It says it's 13th in series. The Ogre in the Office by Courtney McFarlane, 16th in the Soul Seeker Cozy Mystery Series. After dealing with a catnapping, wrestling mythical creatures, and nearly losing herself in the process, Bryn Sullivan has been enjoying some rare peace and quiet. In fact, it's been so quiet she's in danger of becoming bored, and you can already imagine what Bernie thinks of this new peaceful situation. Just when she thinks she can't take any more restfulness, a ghostly mystery is deposited right into her lap thanks to one of her friends. But this is no normal haunting. Bryn and Bernie are about to go on a wild ride, and one thing is certain, their days of peace and quiet are officially over. End of that road. Amy says, all these books sound so interesting. That's why we shine a light on them, so they get seen. Drafted in Deceit, second in the Cape Fear Bookshop Mysteries by Simone Steer. Former New York book editor Libby Page is finally settling into the historical charm of Southport. Page's bookshop is thriving, her book club The Plot Thickens is a local hit, and life feels almost normal until she spots a body floating in the river. The victim is tied to a controversial waterfront development that has the town split down the middle, and suddenly everyone has a motive or an opinion. When Libby and her sharp-witted assistant, Gracie Jean, start pulling at threads, the case leads uncomfortably close to home, straight to a secret involving her best friend's new romance. With the help of her ever-observant calico cat, Callie, and the subtle encouragement of Detective Carter McRae, Libby must navigate a sea of suspects. Mint Chip Murder by Kathleen Suzette, 18th in a Cookies Creamery Mystery. Nothing says summer in Lilac Bay like melting ice cream, sandy flip-flops, and a good old-fashioned beach bonfire, but what it usually doesn't include is a body buried in the sand. When a former high school football star home from college for the summer is discovered half hidden beneath the dunes, hopes for a quiet summer season at Cookies Creamery quickly dissolves faster than a double scoop in July heat. Turns out the golden boy of Lilac Bay wasn't quite so golden, and suddenly everyone has something to say, and not all of it is sweet. As her husband Noah works the case, Maddie does what she does best. She listens, she observes, and she serves up scoops to locals who can't seem to stop talking. Between juggling tourists, newly married life, and a passel of liars, Maddie finds herself knee-deep in clues. But if she isn't careful, she might be the next thing buried on the beach. Here he says, oh, the little kitty under the book. Yeah. And Mint Chip Murders just make me want ice cream. I know. They do this on purpose. Vandals in the Vidalias by Dale Meyer, 5th in the Lovely Lethal Gardens Rewind. Doreen eagerly anticipates her escape to the coast, leaving behind the wintry blues of Kelowna. However, the trip means returning to her old home, back when she was married to Matthew, stirring up a whirlwind of memories. She hopes for a peaceful journey, but as soon as she steps into the conservatory, she realizes her hobby has unexpectedly followed her here. Mac takes a few days off to assist Doreen in sorting through Matthew's belongings, aware of the emotional challenges she faces when revisiting her former life. His curiosity about her past is piqued, yet what he discovers is both unsettling and intriguing. Amid this visit, a perplexing mystery unfolds. Why is a victim in the Vidalia patch Doreen's cherished garden bed? Could this be connected to Doreen herself, or is she just unlucky again? Or rather, is she in the right place at the right time again? The Antique Hunters Murder at the Castle by C.L. Miller, third in the Antique Hunters series. Hot on the heels of an art forger, a member of the Lockwood Antique Hunters Agency disappears while investigating in an isolated castle deep in Scottish countryside. Freya and Aunt Carol race to her last known location and arrive in the wintry snow-covered Scottish borders. At the castle, they discover that a murdered laird in the vegetable garden and his priceless collection of silverware has been stolen. Local police believe Freya's missing team member was involved with the robbery and murder, but where is she now? As a snowstorm descends on the castle, Freya and Carol call in backup to help uncover what happened that fateful night. As each question is met with more mystery, the clock is ticking to find their friend and the murderer before they are cut off from the outside world. End of that road. Flight and Found by Scarlett Moss, fourth in the Wisteria and Wildwood Apothecary Cozy Mysteries. And the description says, coming soon. Alright. We wanted short and sweet. Ooh, that's a pretty cover. Death Wasn't Invited by Carleen O'Connor. Paris, 1922. The marriage between the Auclair and Picard families is the talk of the town. June can't wait to attend the engagement party with her friends, Nate and Jack. But Nate has an ulterior motive. He's there to stop the wedding. Before he can complete his task, he's stabbed in the chest with Jack's knife. Jack is arrested, and June knows he wouldn't hurt a fly. In this throwback to the classic whodunits of Agatha Christie, June must find the real killer and clear Jack's name. As she becomes embroiled deeper and deeper into a corrupt web of Parisian old money, high society, and politics, she uncovers deadly secrets. Can June solve the case before the killer strikes again? Mary says, yes, nice memories. Very different from where I grew up, Florida, so missed the trees and green for a while, but soon liked it. Oh, sure. Amy says, I'm glad to hear that, Mary. Yeah. Talking about Oklahoma. The Well-Hidden Clue by Carrie L. Townsend, third in a Wishville mystery series. Lyra Wells hopes Fall Wishfest will bring calm after a turbulent summer, pumpkins, cider, and a town ready to believe in joy again. But when renovations beneath the library uncover a sealed time capsule containing a notebook with frayed edges, a folded map, and a tiny glass jar of soil, and a carved stone fragment the size of a plum, etched with lines too smooth and too deliberate to be human-made. That seems kind of opposite. Lyra is pulled into a cold case that never truly ended. Maggie Winslow, a beloved teacher, vanished in 1984. Her daughter Clara, now fully grown, demands answers, unaware that someone who helped, I would think so if this happened in 1984, that someone who helped bury the truth is still watching, still protecting what was done. As Holden Thorne struggles to keep panic from spreading and Calderus senses dangerous movement in the tunnels below, Lyra follows a trail of new clues and hidden passageways that intersect with her mother's past in this tense blah blah blah. Some secrets survive because they're protected. Others wait until the cost of truth is unbearable, and then they hunt. Okay. This is going to be our last one for today. A Novel Theft by Tessa Silver, 11th in the Quillhaven Magical Cozy Mysteries. As Ellie Fitzgerald arrives in the charming town of Quillhaven, she's hoping for a quiet reset after a painful breakup. Helping her Uncle Martin run his beloved bookshop, Chapter and Chime, seems like the perfect place to begin again. The shop is warm, welcoming, and filled with stories waiting to be discovered. Even the local cats, Leo and Luna, have opinions about what people should read, but Quillhaven isn't an ordinary town. Magic lingers in its streets, cats can talk, and stories have a way of taking on lives of their own. When a visiting author comes to town for a special reading, excitement fills the bookshop. Yet, beneath the celebration, something unsettling begins to stir. Martin has been secretly working on a novel of his own, one he's not ready to share with the world. Then someone steals it. For a writer, it's the ultimate nightmare. As Ellie begins asking questions, she discovers that Quillhaven's cozy streets may be hiding more secrets than she imagined. A charming computer technician appears at exactly the wrong time. A famous author seems a little too interested in Martin's manuscript. And the magical cats sense that something about the whole situation feels deeply wrong. With the help of a kind-hearted woodworker, a loyal community of book lovers, and two sharp-eyed feline sleuths, Ellie must uncover who took the manuscript and why. And that is where we will stop. Well, we got through 16 of them. So, on Wednesday, we'll be looking at the crime fiction and thrillers. And then we'll have a Friday show to look at the rest of these cozies. Ray says, I bet she can solve it before the killer strikes again. And she's probably armed with her wit. Any special plans for St. Patrick's Day? We have had quite a number of eventful days. Friday the 13th, Pi Day, and Saturday the Ides of March, and on Sunday, and then St. Patrick's Day. Indeed. St. Patrick's Day is one of my very, 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 very favorite holidays. Has been since I was a kid. I don't do really anything special for it, but it's just I've always felt very drawn to things Irish. So my entire family knows I very much like St. Patrick's Day. My second is Independence Day, but I don't do anything special. How about you? Amy says, I don't have any plans for tomorrow. You always find the most inviting graphics. Thanks so much for everything. Stay warm and safe, everyone. You too, honey. You stay safe. Oof. We must see you on Wednesday. You must wake up if you're sleeping and say, I'm okay, and then go back to bed, okay? It is, and that's probably where my green, love of green comes from, the 40 Shades of Green. Of course, you've been there. All right, thank you guys. I gotta go to work. Yeah. Enjoy your Monday. Happy St. Patrick's Eve. Please be safe. Read good books. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Have a good day and God bless.